All right, so I gotta work on that on that intro. I was trying to go for something a little more professional, but it's my first time trying it out, so I gotta work on it a little bit. Gotta edit that, but it's kind of cool, right? I thought it was kind of cool. I might change it up. We'll see. I'm testing out different kind of like starting soon, like intro videos, and kind of exploring. It's I worked on it a little bit, over the past couple days. Wow, time flew by so fast since the last stream. Uh, but but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I want to add to this. Up the quality so that people feel more like this is a more professional kind of setup. So but I don't, just because it's a professional setup, like I want it to look cool and everything, but I don't want it to feel like like it's not casual. So so I'll test stuff like that out. Oh, and I gotta change that thing on the bottom. Let me change that really quickly. Forgot to do that. Growing pains. So I just gotta download it really quickly. Let's say 3. Change this. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just downloading the new background. And I know it says first stream, but this is not my first stream. This is the third. Well, second official. The first one messed up because I was trying to get approved by YouTube, and I didn't quite get approved by the time limit, or by the time that I was supposed to do my stream. So I just did a recording instead, but I called it my first not so live stream. So let me download this with the transparent background. Download. So that's downloading. I should be able to upload that here. Let's see, background, topic, properties. Is it properties? Yeah, it's properties. Browse. Here we go. Here's the new one. Open. Yeah. Hey, check that out. That's pretty cool. Values and missions. So over the last few days, since last Thursday, basically, I've been trying to take more notes. Take more notes on the things that I highlighted that I thought were really important from that book that we were kind of reviewing from the last time, the Learned Excellence. Yeah, Learned Excellence. I wanted to go over chapter 3 today. I thought I was going to be able to go through the rest of the book, but going through my highlights, there are so many important things that I want to touch on in each chapter, and so this stream, it could be its own standalone stream. Really, it's on values and missions. Well, it's on values and goals, but I prefer to call goals missions because it just sounds cooler to be on a mission. I'm on a mission to accomplish this goal I set for myself, or this mission I set for myself. So okay on that. So today is going to be all about values and missions, which I'll refer to goals as missions, as I said. But I have a ton of notes I want to go over, and I'm going to talk through some of the things that are important for values, things that are important for missions, to kind of keep in mind when you're trying to grow, trying to develop. And values, especially like core values, are foundational to how you live your life and how you start living intentionally the way that you're intending for your life to be lived. A lot of people kind of go living life going through the motion of just trying to survive and just, like I said, going through the motions. And a lot of the time it can leave you feeling kind of bored and feeling like this sort of emptiness, or feeling stagnant, like you're stuck in the same place in life and you're just living life on repeat. And one of the ways to break out of that cycle is to start evaluating and taking a deeper look at yourself, your core values, whether you're living according to those values, what sorts of missions you're setting for yourself, and much, much more. So we'll get into that today. Really quickly, I want to go over kind of like this little setup that I have here on the background. I hope you guys can see that. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that. But basically, I have some guidelines for the live stream. Be respectful, of course, and be positive. Treat each other with kindness. Send questions to my email. I don't think I added that in the description, but can I alter that? No, I think I have to do that after the fact, but I'll add my email in case you guys want to add some questions. Let me move my chat over here. Get rid of that. Let me change something really quickly here. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so I'll have my email set up so you guys can send me questions. I think once the channel starts to grow and I start having a lot more kind of people talking in the chat, it's going to be hard for me to keep up. It'll be easier when there's just a few of you, kind of like maybe several streams down the line, I'll be able to maybe answer your questions directly in the chat. But I think the more official route I want to go is to have you send them to my email, and I can track them that way. I will tell you right now, like once it starts to grow, it'll be difficult for me to be able to answer all of your questions, but I'm going to pick out some of the few that I think are really important for everyone to hear. I'm going to touch on those ones especially, and yeah, I just hope it helps you guys out, on your journey in life, wanting to grow, wanting to kind of develop that growth mindset, and yeah, it's all about cultivating your best self here. So welcome, and let me finish going over these guidelines. So number 3 is share your experiences in the chat related to the topics that we're talking about. I always encourage you guys to share so that other people feel like they're not alone. Number 4, keep it relevant. No divisive topics. It's really easy to kind of mention something that will divide people and get people really riled up, and I don't want that here. I mean, there are certain things that I might encourage that, but don't kind of like unnecessarily bring it in, just because it kind of takes away from the experience of what I'm trying to promote here, which is like balanced growth, positivity, growth mindset, self-management topics, knowledge management, and money management. Number 5, mind the language. Moderation tools or timeouts if needed. I gotta alter that, but self-promotion is okay, in moderation. It's all right to mention your channel or social media if it relates to the topic, but don't spam it. Just don't mention it here or there, but be aware of the YouTube guidelines. You don't want to get banned or anything like that. Celebrate successes. When someone mentions something that they've accomplished, let's celebrate that. Point it out to me if how do we do that? I'll try and keep an eye on the chat, but yeah, in general, I want to try and recognize that some of you are accomplishing the things that you set out for yourself, especially when I'm kind of inspiring you to do so. So yeah, let's celebrate that. Number 9, see the description for additional resources. I'm putting together, especially for this one, the values and missions, I'm putting together some PDFs for you guys that will make it really easy to kind of go through the steps that I mentioned during this live stream. If you want to explore, developing your values or the core values that you want to kind of live life by, you guys have seen mine in one of the previous videos. If you haven't, check it out. I think it was in the first video I put out, which was the not so live stream. Check that out. I go over the core values that I have. It's health, growth, love, impact, and integrity. So those are the ones that I truly want to live my life by. Those are just the top 5. There are others, but yeah, I've gone through the process of kind of exploring all the different core values that I want to live my life by, and I try to do that every single day. So this is going to be really important for you to kind of live your life in a guided, it's sort of like a guided kind of way, but yeah, I talk a little bit more about it too in the self-awareness video that I have on my channel, so check that out as well. And then lastly, have fun. Have fun. We're here to talk about all things, self-management, which deals with self-awareness, productivity, procrastination, like all this stuff that people generally need help with, like especially now with how much information we're being bombarded with every single day. It's we weren't meant to process the amount of information that gets thrown our way, and so it can be incredibly difficult to cope with just the amount of information that we're getting. And I want to try and help manage that, help filter it for you in a way that empowers you to understand what's essential, what do you like actually need in your life in order to feel more fulfilled, feel more joy in your life. And that's what I'm aiming for. So let's get to it. All right. I think that was it. And at the top I have the quote that I have for cultivate your best self. It's just, it's about cultivating a deeper knowledge of yourself, who you aspire to become, and how and why you value time and money. And I think that's going to come up again because there's something similar that Eric, the author of Learned Excellence, he talks about in chapter 3. So let's get into it. Let me pull up my notes here so I know exactly what we're going to be talking about. And should I share this? I think I could share this. Let me close some of these tabs. I don't need these tabs anymore. Close you, close you. That's okay. Okay. Let's see. Now where should I put my video? Oh yeah, that's my video. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's the background. Let me put this down. That should be good right there, right? Yeah, that's good. All right, so chapter 3 is values and goals. I'm calling goals missions. But each chapter I have a quote of the chapter. It's amateurs focus on outcomes, professionals focus on process. And it's not entirely pertinent to this chapter because chapter 5 is all about process and developing a process. So we'll get into that, but I really loved this quote because I think it's absolutely true. A lot of the times we tend to focus on outcomes when we're trying to create goals or missions for ourselves. Whether it's, trying to lose a certain amount of weight or trying to eat healthier or pass a certain test, whatever it is, we tend to focus on what the outcome's going to be, and immediately that kind of discourages you because it can seem so far away depending on what it is. Especially like, say, your goal is to like save for a house, and that seems like incredibly impossible, especially with today's climate, and how like out of reach it seems to be able to afford a home. I feel that myself. But you don't want to focus on the outcomes. You want to focus on the process it's going to take to get there, and just continue on with that process. Trust the process. It's one of the things that the author of this book continually mentions, is to trust the process, and the outcome kind of takes care of itself. You don't want to be focusing on the outcome because it can discourage you from sometimes even trying, because it just feels so impossible, so far away, and that's not what we want to focus on. So learning excellence starts with developing a deeper understanding of ourselves, how we act, why we act the way that we do, and what drives us and our actions and our decisions. We need to stop caring so much about what people think of us, which tends more towards reputation. You want to like get your mind out of that, because when you start thinking about what other people think of you, oftentimes we place our own insecurities and associate it with what other people are thinking of us, and then oftentimes you can create like a negative image of someone just based on what you're projecting onto them, and that's you don't want to do that. A lot of the times we don't have access to our subconscious, but our subconscious is so incredibly powerful because if a lot of the times you're thinking negatively, you have limiting beliefs. You say I can't a lot, or I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this. That can easily project to like towards other people, and it creates like this kind of like negative this negative yeah, like I mentioned, this negative vibe that you get from another person, and you can find yourself not liking someone solely based on the things that you think they think about you. And sometimes that's not even the case at all. You could be like totally off, and it's just based on your own insecurities. So we need to move away from caring about what other people think of us, and just, I think the best way to do that, and this is what the author says, is to reorient your focus towards your core values, your motivations, and your missions in life. The very things associated with your actual identity. Um, when you do that, you tend to not have time to think about what other people are thinking of you. You just focus on whether or not you're living according to your values. When you stay true to your identity, reputation takes care of itself. I absolutely agree. This requires a deeper understanding of self than most of you have. It's not difficult to develop that deeper understanding, but you have to be willing, and you have to allow yourself to take the time to understand it. And a lot of the times it may feel that we don't have that time to to develop that deeper understanding of ourselves, especially now where it feels like everything is so fast paced. And I think social media plays this role of decreasing our attention spans to the point where we're incapable of taking the time to really focus in on what it takes to understand ourselves on a deeper level. And that's one of the things that I want to try and help you guys with, because we need to move. Like, I've been hearing more and more lately that social media is going to be similar to the development of how cigarettes or smoking was like back in the day. Back in the day, it was like it was promoted as like this healthy activity. If you smoked, you were cool. Things like that. And now I'm seeing more and more articles starting to come out saying like, not so far down the line, social media is going to be similar to smoking. It like it's going to be that detrimental to your health, especially to the mental aspect. Your mental health. But yeah, that's all I'll say right now about social media. But I've tried to do away with binging too much social media. I almost Well, occasionally I'll take a look at it, but I don't get stuck, hours watching it. So I think that's really great. But anyway, so what was I? This requires a deeper understanding of self than most of you have, which I think is true. A lot of people don't really take the time to develop that deeper understanding. And then throughout the process of developing your values, just be honest with yourself, and that's difficult in itself. Being honest, sometimes it takes a lot of courage to be honest with yourself. I mean, one of the things that I was kind of looking at with myself lately is I'm not the best at sticking to a strict schedule when it comes to, like, say, uploading videos to YouTube. I was having trouble with that. I was having trouble with sticking to a schedule, uploading videos to TikTok, or just sticking with, like, say, a blog. But these live sessions is much easier for me to kind of speak freely and not worry so much about scripting, because scripting like takes an incredibly long time. It doesn't feel as authentic. I'm not speaking from I'm not speak I mean, I am speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from what I've learned, and it's more tailored, but it just doesn't feel like as authentic as it could, speaking to you live the way I'm doing now. So yeah, if I was being honest with myself, I think I probably should have started doing live sessions a while ago. I mean, when I started this YouTube channel last year in 2023, yeah, beginning of the year, I was pretty good at sticking to the schedule, but I was burning out pretty quickly. I was is spending basically all of my free time outside of my 9 to 5 editing videos and doing scripting and trying to do everything I could to keep up with that schedule. And I was still in debt back then, so I couldn't afford to hire anyone to do editing for me. I had to do everything myself, and it was just tough to stay consistent with that. And I'm sure, I probably could have modified the videos to be not as long or not as in depth with the content, but I don't know. It's just back then, finance was more what I was into, and since then, since the whole personal growth kick kind of came in, I I think I found a happy medium. This whole live streaming thing is going to be much better, not only for my presentation and my public speaking, but for my consistency. Having a deadline where, okay, I need to be live at 6 p.m. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and that may change in the future, but for now I'm going to keep it Tuesdays, Thursdays. But it's much easier for me to just come on here and start talking, sharing the things that I'm passionate about with you guys, and kind of sticking to it. But yeah, so I wasn't being honest with myself is what I was trying to say. I wasn't being honest with myself in terms of like how disciplined I am with sticking to a schedule when it comes to uploading stuff, or sticking to a consistent schedule, like outputting content. But I think I found this happy medium, like I said, with live streaming. So let's get into values. Uh, what I want you, what I want to have you guys do, along with me, is develop your personal statement of beliefs. And what this does is it helps guide your actions on a daily basis, which is critical for this foundation of learning to be excellent, or learning to be, a better version of yourself. Not necessarily the best, but at least a better version of yourself. So, your personal statement of beliefs, let's get into it. Start with writing down a list of words that are the characteristics and attributes that best describe who you are at your core, but also ones that you want to be an example of as well. And at first this list might be long, but write down everything that comes to mind. It might be like I said, it might be a lot at first, or nothing at all. But the point is to come back to this list every so often when you realize something about who you are. So, like, let's say, I don't know, let's say you're at the gym and you're exercising, and you realize like I really need this time to myself, to kind of let go of some of the stress from the day, if you're working out in the evening. And so exercise becomes an important part of your life. So maybe that relates more to health as a value. Or, you come home and you see your significant other and you've just missed them all day. Maybe love is an important part of your values, your core value. So I want to show you my list that I went through, and I've gone through this before. So let me go to this. So it first started out kind of with just roles that I play. That's what it started out as. Husband, father, son, brother, friend. And then it kind of evolved more into actual values, being patient, being kind, balanced, growth mindset, ambitious, health, physical and mental, open-mindedness, generosity, love, integrity, leading by example, doing what I say. Health, did I say health twice? No. Love, growth, impact, integrity. These are the ones that are my top 5. Honesty, authenticity, all things that I hope to kind of show that I'm a great example of. So that was my kind of initial list that I kind of came up with as I was taking these notes. But once you have your list of, say, once you get past 10, narrow it down to about 5 and create your personal statement of beliefs using those 5 values. And the example that I came up with is, I have 2. I am committed to my health, love for my wife and son, ambition, growth mindset, and impact on others through integrity. And what I would want you guys to do is have like a 3x5 card or something that you can put into your wallet or your pocket and refer to it, on a daily basis, even. Like that, I think that'll be helpful. And then I came up with a simpler statement, the second one, which is, be healthy, loving, ambitious, always growing, impactful, and live with integrity. Um, I think I'm going to write down that second one. I haven't actually written it down, but I'm going to do that because I really like that one. Be healthy, loving, ambitious, always growing, impactful, and live with integrity. So that's the process that you kind of go through with your values. It's pretty simple, but I want to create a PDF that goes over all the things that I'm going to be talking about for this chapter. And what time is it right now? Dang, we're already 30 minutes in. That's crazy. Well, I wonder how much time I spent doing the beginning part, but so missions. Let's get into missions. What happened here? Oh, yeah. So what I would have you guys do with missions is to start with one. Start with one mission you want to achieve 1 month from now. And ask yourself, what do you want to be true 1 month from now? Everything in the process that I'm going to describe here is designed to increase your chance of successfully achieving your mission. And everything is based, not everything, but like there's multiple studies that show what I'm going to say here is true, but the particular facts I'm going to share with you here is based on a 2015 study by psychologist, not psychology, by psychologist Gail Matthews, who found that people achieve their goals when they thought about it 43% of the time, when they wrote about it 62% of the time, and shared it with a friend 76% of the time. So I'd encourage you not to just think about it, but because the chances of failure are much higher if you just think about it, but actually write it down. Make it something that's tangible that you can like see and touch and hold in your hand. So yeah, write about it and then share it with a friend. One of the things that I did when I started kind of posting videos again after I took care of my son for the first month was I went onto X, and I should write down what my X, formerly Twitter, handle is here. I think I shared it in a previous video, but I should share it here. But one of the things I do there is I post one of the things that I want to try and accomplish. And after that first month of taking care of my son, I posted a goal of, I think it was a Monday that I posted this, but I say by Friday I want to post my next video to YouTube. And I was able to accomplish, I didn't post it on Friday, but I posted it on Saturday because there was more editing involved than I thought. But it was the self-awareness video that I put out there. And that one was a big one for me. I might redo it just because self-awareness is such a huge foundational thing that I talk about in the video, that 95% of people think they're self-aware, but really the true number is closer to like 10 to 15%. And that means a lot of you guys are probably lying to yourself in terms of how self-aware you are. And the person who did the study, Tasha Urich, she came out with a quiz that I took, and the crazy thing about this quiz is that you have to send it to someone who knows you really well, and they have to answer another set of questions about you, and then they basically combine those two quizzes to see like how really self-aware are you. And yeah, it's really great to kind of if you can share it with a close friend. Like in that self-awareness video, I have the quiz in the description if you guys are interested in taking it. But how did I get into this? How did I get into this whole thing? Yeah, so yeah, I was talking about like sharing it with a friend. I shared it publicly on Twitter that I wanted to finish editing and uploading that video to YouTube, and I was able to accomplish it. It took me a day longer than I was expecting, but it still kind of motivated me to keep it up and share it with the community that I am building on X, which surprisingly is growing faster than any other platform that I'm on. And that's I'm curious to see like how much I'll be able to grow that social platform, but it seems like a lot of people are taking to the thoughts that I'm sharing there. So yeah, give me a follow. I'll have all my handles for my different social media on this screen the next time that you guys come for a live stream. So you guys can check me out there. But yeah, sharing it with a friend increases it by quite a bit. Your chance of successfully accomplishing your mission. So yeah, number one, write it down. Simple. Writing it down makes it tangible. Publicly commit by sharing it with others, and then create an accountability plan. And an accountability plan is just is that sharing it with a friend and sharing like weekly progress reports with them. Like it significantly increases your chances of accomplishing your missions. And if you guys are interested in having me be an accountability person for you, email me, and I'm willing to take on at least a few, and because I'm accessible right now, so I would love to help some of you guys achieve your monthly missions, whatever they may be. So, that I one of the things that I really wanted to share that I was kind of thinking about as I was doing some of this is that I think right now is a really great opportunity for some of you to be able to reach someone. I have this belief that I'm not gonna make I'm not gonna be huge or anything, but I'm gonna be successful in starting a business that deals with all of this, self management, information management, and money management. And I don't know what it is yet. I have a feeling it's gonna be something in the coaching realm, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably along the lines of not in terms of popularity, but like in the same sphere as like Rob Dial. What's that? His name's something Xander. Some of these guys who are really about like mindset and personal growth and things like that. And I'm not big at all. I'm a small guy. I don't have my own business or anything yet, but that's the goal. And I am incredibly, like, at least in the past like few years, have been developing my ambition and drive to achieve that success. And this whole like live stream, me expanding on my knowledge and everything is all aimed towards getting to that kind of that end goal of attaining a self-sustaining business where I help people achieve their own dreams and goals. And if that involves helping people with their self-awareness, with planning out their own missions, with helping them with their core values, developing their core values, all of these things I would love to help people with and get paid for. And I'm small right now, and anyone who starts joining in on the channel, they're gonna have access to me. The other people that have already made it, like there's no way you're gonna be able to have access to them the way you have access to me, and are able to ask me questions, because they're at a level where they have teams that handle like their emails, their newsletters, their social media platforms. They're kind of like they're overseeing everything that they've developed, and it's rare that you get a chance to actually work one-on-one with them, without having them charge you an arm and a leg. And I'm sure that their content is worth it. I'm sure it's worth the price that they're charging. But me just starting out, I don't know. I think it's a unique opportunity for some of you, and it's kind of like boasting myself a little bit, but yeah, just what I'm trying to say is take advantage. I hope that me sticking to this and you guys like starting to join in at this very early stage in my in my journey as like a consultant or a coach or whatever you want to call it, um, that you guys take advantage of having access to me, because in the future I'm probably gonna set it up in the same way as a lot of these other professionals, where I'm gonna have a team helping me do all the things that I can't do, but charging a premium price for some of the information and things that I develop in order to help you guys achieve your dreams. So just throw that out there and see what happens. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to start out with just one goal. Ask yourself, what do you want to be true a month from now? And then go through this process of writing it down, sharing it with a friend, and just going for it. Just, try to accomplish this. Try to accomplish this mission that you're setting for yourself. And as a bonus, like, have it align at least with one of the core values that you develop. And that'll provide even more drive and intrinsic motivation for you to stick to trying to accomplish that mission. And then advanced goal setting. This is something that the author from Learned Excellence goes through with his clients. It's creating 1, 3, and 6 month goals across 6 areas of your life. Your health, and I ranked these because I think these are the most important things in your life. And I think he starts with career. He talks about how most people view their career as the thing that defines them the most. And I want to try and challenge some of you to not necessarily identify yourself as what you do, because you're so much more than that. And sure, you might be passionate about what you do, and you might have poured years into doing what you do, but you're so much more than that. And I want to help you see that. So number 1, health. What are your 1, 3, and 6 month goals across 6 areas of your life? The health, relationships, career, spirituality. And spirituality doesn't have to be necessarily like religious or anything like that. It could just be like it could relate more to like mental health, taking doing like meditation, things like that. Hobbies, whatever hobbies you might have. And then legacy. What will you be remembered for? And to kind of go through each of these and think about, like, how can I start developing 1, 3, 6 month goals across each of those areas. Now, I haven't done that. I haven't gone that far yet, but I think in terms of my health, I definitely want to keep up. Last week I started going back to the gym, and it was tough for the first month of my son being born to be able to make it to the gym, just because I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I knew that was going to be the case. And so one of the things that I wanted to focus on was my my diet, my nutrition. So I focused a little bit more on having a healthier diet during that time, and it's carried on. I'm continuing to carry that on. I mean, today I just had chicken and rice. This recipe that my mom kind of showed me. It's where you add chicken to a pan that you're gonna put in the oven, and you pour a cup of rice over it. You add a cup of milk, and then you have a can of mushroom. I think it's mushroom soup. Yeah, like mushroom soup, and then you kind of spread it out over the chicken and rice, and then you have this like onion dip that you kind of sprinkle over, and you just put it in the oven for about an hour, and it's really, really good. It gives me more energy, and I had that today. Made that for my wife and I. We had it with salad on the side, and it's been great. Like, I definitely do notice that when my nutrition suffers, I am much more sluggish. I'm more tired. It definitely is a detriment to your health and your energy levels, which you need to keep up if you're gonna try and stay healthy and live a longer life and be the best version of yourself for your wife, or your significant other, or for your children, whatever it might be. So yeah, so I'm gonna try and keep up exercising. Over the next, I would say maybe in the next 3 months, it's gonna be tough because I'm likely gonna be starting a new job soon. Over the next month or two, and that on top of having my son, who's a newborn still. It's gonna be tough to find the time to get those workouts in, especially the ones that I do are a little bit high intensity, and like if you don't get enough sleep, it's intense. But in terms of relationships, I have goals, weekly goals to try and spend enough quality time with my wife and my son. It's easier with my son because he's a newborn. He doesn't know what the heck is going on, and so, but just it's more for me, to be there for him. Right now, I'm taking charge of all of the night feedings. Excuse me, all of the night feedings, and so like I've been enjoying that quality time with him when he needs to eat in the middle of the night, and it's peaceful, like everyone's sleeping and it's just him and I there, like kind of hanging out, and he's eating. But yeah, so relationships is really important to cultivate, relationships in your life, because one of the things that I remember reading this article of one of the things that people regret when they're on their deathbed, or when they're much older, and in the end phase of their life, and relationships, like neglected relationships, is like one of the things that they tend to regret not having spent more time in, or having developed a stronger connection, with their loved ones or their friends or their community, whatever it is. And so yeah, that's why I think it's should be second on there, and then career number three, developing goals across that. But yeah, I think I will probably go through this over the next week and start kind of setting goals for myself and see what comes of it. Let's talk about motivation. Motivation is actually a really big topic that I could probably do a whole live stream on, and I might do that in the future, especially when the community starts to grow a bit more. But the author Eric refers to this as your engine. Optimal performance happens when your motivations align with your values. And I've noticed this when I started getting more serious about wanting to grow my knowledge. Does that make sense? When I wanted to expand on my knowledge on things, like last year, I read one of the very first books that I read. I think it was back in February. Was Atomic Habits, and you might hear me talk about this in some of my other videos. But when I read that book, one of the small habits I set for myself was to read a single page a day, from a book that was going to help me grow in some way. And so that ended up leading to me reading about. So I started in February last year. I read about 8 books last year, and in the before last year, I hadn't read a single book probably since college, and it blows my mind how much access we have to information that can help us be financially free. Information that can help us live a happier life, more fulfilled life, more joyful life. Things that can help us do more of what we actually want to do. And we don't, like, why don't some people seek that information out? Like, it's not that expensive to like, this book Learned Excellence was like $10. And the things that this psychologist has to share is like invaluable to helping you grow and develop a stronger, just develop a mental toughness that we need during this time of uncertainty. um, you know the younger generations are more anxious and stressed than they've ever been than any other generation, and I think it's because they, well, I won't speak for those younger generations, but like we grew up in a different in a different time, and it's like there's a lot to understand about ourselves, and people don't tend to take the time to understand what we need to about ourselves, and develop that growth mindset to work towards bettering ourselves. And it's just, I don't know, I don't know where I was going with that, but so yeah, optimal performance happens when your motivations align with your values. Oh yeah, yeah. So I was talking about the books, but yeah. So the value of growth, which is my number three core value, aligned with reading books, and I continue to keep that small habit of reading, trying to read a page a day, and of course like reading one page. Reading one page is easy, but the point was, I set that it's easy to accomplish that mission, right? To read a single page a day, like it's going to take me like a few minutes to read a single page. But what that often led to was reading more than a single page. Sometimes I'd be reading for like 30 minutes, and I'd go through like an entire chapter. And the amount of knowledge that I'm consuming now is helping me grow in ways that I didn't even think were possible. It's like absorbing all that knowledge has helped me gain confidence in the belief that I can change my own circumstances. And that's what I'm doing right now. The same can be true for you. If you just take on these, developing your core values, taking on these small missions. Like Atomic Habits is a really great book that I think I should probably go through as well. I'm sure a lot of you in the space have heard about it. If you haven't, Atomic Habits is really great. He breaks down, the process of, what it takes to develop these small habits that will help you. It's basically like compound over time and help you grow into this person that you probably wouldn't even recognize like years down the line, if you continue to follow that process and trust in the process. So yeah, motivation. A couple of examples would be someone who grew up financially insecure may be motivated by money and value security. And so people who are like driven to make money probably want to be more financially secure. So they focus in on that motivation, money being the motivator, and security or comfort, or being able to put food on the table without having to worry is what they value. Or someone who values ambition may be motivated by success. So those are just a couple of examples. What are your motivations, and do they align with your values? It's a question for you guys. Performance under stress. What time is? Let's see, what's the time? Oh shoot, 6:50. Okay, and we're just about through chapter 3. Performance under stress. What is the hardest thing you've ever experienced? Death of a loved one. These are some of the examples that the author gives, but death of a loved one, a failed exam or course, bankruptcy, rejection, a loss in a big game, an accident, or getting laid off. Especially like getting laid off after having worked for many, many years and feeling like you were loyal, only for them to just, tell you, it's not personal, it's budget, I'm gonna cut you, sorry. I mean, that happens. That happens more often than you probably think, but that's another reason why I think entrepreneurship is such a growing like, what is a growing, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a growing thing. Like entrepreneurship is something that is being valued more and more because people have the freedom to basically like make their own living. And yes, it's incredibly difficult, but the upside potential is so much bigger than whatever a company might value you at. And I think that's where there's a huge disconnect between people who are entrepreneurs and people who are working for companies and are miserable. Like they're that's one of the I think that's one of the groups that I want to try and help, because like I there are ways to work around your full-time job in order to start building up like a separate thing on the side that can help you get out of that. And it may take years, but if you stay consistent with it, I truly believe that it can lift you up out of your circumstances that you're not happy in, or whatever it might be. There are other things that you can do to get that fulfillment or get that joy out of life that you've been missing out on. And that's what I'm try to hear. That's why I'm here to try and help you understand, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so how did you navigate the situation when you went through that really difficult time? And the answer is likely to reveal how you handle most stressful situations. Like, how did you handle when, like, if you're a college student, if you had a paper due that you've had months to work on, and you suddenly, like, you find yourself, you have a week left, and you just cram that week, or you just, like, sometimes people even fail, like they don't even attempt it because they're like, I blew it, I messed up. And yeah, it can be really revealing. Like, how you handle stressful situations is likely how you handle most stressful situations. And there are healthy ways, and then there are unhealthy ways. So let's go through the healthy ways. Basically, like using internal coping skills to kind of go through, like, death of a loved one. There's this little fly flying around. And the death of a loved one, there are certain steps, that you go through before you fully kind of accept the fact that you've lost a loved one. And it's incredibly difficult, especially when you're going through it, to to handle those emotions, to go through those emotions. And so um, there can be unhealthy ways of dealing with it. Like, one of those ways is substance abuse. And it's substance abuse is like one of the most common things that I see with people who are not able to emotionally regulate themselves in a healthy way. And it's unfortunate because it can take so much out of their lives to deal with that substance abuse. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Like, people who deal with substance abuse, like, they need, like, long-term professional help to kind of cope with, like, different stressful circumstances. And so if you're able to emotionally regulate yourself, that's a huge advantage, because there are a lot of people who are unable to do that. And it requires an incredible amount of self-awareness. It it requires an incredible amount of understanding, yourself on a deeper level. And yeah, I mean, the stress of the last thing that I'm thinking of is, like, when my wife told me she was pregnant, and living up to that point where my son was born. Like, it's like that whole transition between like not being parents and being parents. Like, that's an incredibly stressful transition. And so, like, I was really proud of the way my wife and I handled it. It was tough the first few weeks, but we got through it. We supported each other, and I think we coped with it in healthy ways. By talking things through, by being there for each other. Trying to handle that stress in a healthier way, and not, like, not turn towards the unhealthy ways of, like, lashing out. Because we understand, like, the unhealthy ways of coping with stress, they don't they don't add to the situation. They don't relieve the situations. If anything, they make it worse. And so, yeah, I think yeah, my wife and I have a good handle on handling stress. So, yeah, so yeah, lashing out is another way of handling stress in a unhealthy way. Blaming others, that's a big one. I definitely know people who place the blame on others, and don't take accountability for the actions that they've performed themselves. Like I know some people who have come to a decision and base that decision on what other people have said, and that's a recipe for this unhealthy way of coping with a stressful situation, because then it becomes easy for you to blame others, but really, like, you need to be responsible for your own actions regardless of what anyone else says or does or tells you they're going to do. And in the last stream that I did, one of the things that I am really adamant about is not making excuses. You gotta stop asking yourself why questions, and you gotta start asking yourself, how can I improve, or what can I do to improve my situation from here? And that's one way to kind of like flip the script on blaming others. If you find yourself blaming others, try and stop yourself and realize, okay, yes, something may have happened where I based my action or my decision on someone else's point of view or someone else's opinion or what they said they were going to do. But you need to kind of separate yourself from that and stop and say, look, what can I do to improve my situation from this point on? And kind of just let that go. And then going into isolation. I mentioned in the last, I believe it was the last stream, that I went through a situation that was incredibly difficult for me when I was in my early to mid 20s. And going into isolation was something that I did to handle that situation. And I can tell you that it was probably the worst thing I could have done for myself, because I developed a crippling social anxiety. I would have panic attacks, and like anytime I was in a social situation, I would get so anxious and so stressed that I would feel physically ill. And it took me many years to cope with that, to get out of that. And yeah, going into isolation is like really one of the worst ways, up there with substance abuse, because it being locked inside your own mind, especially when it's at a time where you're not happy with yourself, or you're feeling like you're not deserving of something, or that you're deserving to be isolated. Like, I don't know, it's really tough. Like, those situations are tough because sometimes, like, you just need to go through it, and it just takes time to kind of heal from that. But yeah, I don't know, it's tough. Tough and stressful times are part of life. And it's important to understand what your default response is and just work on ways to improve if you're coping in unhealthy ways. And that's essentially what the author says is, yeah, just recognize what your response is to stress, especially like some of the bigger stresses in life, and just work on small ways to improve it if you're coping in unhealthy ways. So I think that's it. It's 7 p.m. That's it for this one. I'll post some resources in the description here in just a bit, probably within the next hour. And actually, you know what? I might take a little bit longer than that because I'm gonna have a snack here. but yes, I'm definitely gonna post some resources, and then in future live streams, I'll share all the resources. You guys will see like the different categories of like a resource for developing your values, for developing your missions in life. And yeah, next week we'll go into mindset. We'll talk all about mindset, and this is going to be a really big one too, because I'm excited about mindset. Mindset is huge It's huge, you guys. um, yeah, it's up there. Like for me, mindset is up there with like self awareness and core values. Like all these things are, I feel, foundational to the success that a lot of like highly successful people, like top performers and in like sports and in their fields and all types of things in business. Um, yeah, we can. There's always something that we can take away and learn from people that are at the top of their game. And even if we're not trying to be that good, if we're not trying to be like at the top, like I'm not trying to be at the top, but I want to be better and I want to improve. Continue to learn and continue to grow every single day. And mindset, values, all these things play into what it takes to get to that level of that you want to try and get to. Incredibly important, but yeah. So we'll talk about mindset next week. All right. I will catch you guys in the next one, and until next time, keep learning and keep growing.